So this is the second video where we're actually going to show off the Echo Dot and what I programmed it to do right now. Obviously the Echo can respond to basic commands right out of the box. It's not really that intelligent in my experience. There's a lot of things that trip it up, but there isn't a whole lot of data that's driving it. Once you hook it into things like Wolfram Alpha and as the Amazon Intelligence on the back end grows, you can see a lot of functionality, but basic things are obviously built in, and then we can expand it like we've been doing. So let's just see what kinds of things Alexa can do. Hey Alexa, what's the weather like?
Currently, in Minneapolis it's 38 degrees with showers. Today, you can expect snowy, rainy weather with a high of 40 degrees and a low of 35 degrees.
Hey Alexa, tell me a joke.
I love math. Although you know what seems odd to me? Numbers that aren't divisible by 2.
Their humor's pretty dry. I'm sure most geeks can appreciate that joke. Hey Alexa, you're not that bright, are you?
Sorry, thanks for letting me know.
Oh, she's pretty pragmatic, not really overly sensitive. So that's a good thing. You don't want your electronics to be too sensitive. So let's look at the Arduino. We've got the prototype set up here, a bunch of jumpers and all this kind of jazz I showed in the first video. Not really production ready, but it is there, and there's an IR lead pointing directly to this LED, pointing directly to this Sharp television, which was a pain in the butt to figure out the IR codes, but after some digging and testing with IR receivers, finally got it working. The Samsung downstairs, which I'll show in another video, was a lot easier to deal with. So before we get into that, which is a custom code, let's just look at some of the things that Echo can do right out of the box. We showed how it can answer questions and things like that, pretty primitive or trivial questions. But then we've also got it hooked into the Belkin Wemo switches for our bedroom lights. And so Echo comes ready to discover those devices and is actually pretty much plug and play. So let's see what it can do for out of the box features. Hey Alexa, turn on the bedroom lights.
Okay.
Hey Alexa, turn off the bedroom lights.
Okay.
So it is kind of weird that it says okay after it's done it. It seems a little unnatural to me. I love technology, but I think it should be a natural transition into our lives rather than being so, I guess, obscure or weird in the way that she responds. But I wouldn't have written that in. I don't think there needs to be any voice response to some simple function like light control, but that's my perspective. So let's look at some of the customizations we've done with Echo. Of course, Alexa is the voice that drives the Echo and all these series of Echo devices that Amazon produces, and it's pretty programmable. I mean, we as I mentioned in the first video, how the architecture looks as far as what the Arduino is interfacing with the Amazon side, and so let's take this for a spin with the IR LED pointed at this television. Hey Alexa, trigger bedroom TV on.
Sending that to IFT.
And you can see the delta is not too bad. 1 to 2 second delays, which is pretty acceptable. But once I get the middleman, which is IFT, out of the picture and move all the code directly to Skills API, once I can learn it, that delta should go away. The custom code that I've written is basically running on the Arduino as a web server, as I mentioned in the first video. So it's the only customization I've done right now. And I've added some basic functionality to the television, or to this interface, so that you can control the television in the basic ways, right? So let's look at some of those. Alexa, trigger bedroom mute.
Sending that to IFT.
And so there's the mute. Television's on mute now. Alexa, trigger bedroom unmute.
Sending that to IFT.
And also, you've got the voice, the volume control, so you can either send it in a single or a batch mode. So I've written it so that you don't constantly have to keep asking to increase the volume if you need to tick it up quite a bit, or 3 or 4 at a time or whatever. So you could do it in a single state, in a step rather. Alexa, trigger bedroom increase volume.
Sending that to IFT.
And you can see there that it ticked up from 12 to 13 on the volume. Obviously, you don't want to continue doing that if you're looking to, bang out the keys a couple times and you want to increase the volume by 3-fold or so. So let's try that. Alexa, trigger bedroom increase volume by 3.
Sending that to IFT.
And so now the volumes, obviously with a small delay I've added in there to make sure the IR has some time to kind of catch up. It increases the volume. And let's go ahead and shut this whole thing down. Alexa, trigger bedroom TV off.
Sending that to IFT.
And so that's pretty much it for now. I've got some plans for interfacing with Netflix and the Fire TV. And so you can hopefully just take all the controls out of the picture and just do everything by voice. Hopefully stash the remote controls away when the technology does fail, and it will. But it's pretty impressive what Amazon's provided here in a small, $30, $40, $50 device. A lot of functionality, allows you to code and pretty much do all kinds of interfaces. And so, not only interfacing with the devices themselves, but one of the other things I'm kind of looking into, and I'm not entirely sure if there's any available libraries or anything like that, but right now the Echo basically responds to anyone. So someone can come in and just turn off the TV, turn on the lights. My kids have a blast with it. I mean, very annoyingly so. I want to add some kind of voice authorization so that, you have a speech recognition system behind the scenes, not just for the words, but for the patterns or speech patterns of the individual, and hopefully authorize these devices so that only individuals can send commands, at least in the household, so that kids don't run amok doing all kinds of things with it. But that'd be cool to add some authorization there. I've got, as I mentioned in the first video, I've got some architecture changes I need to do on the Arduino, obviously make it into a more production ready system with the case, more IR leads, adding a transistor so it adds more power, so I can prevent some of the blocks, and add more LEDs to get a more flood signal sent, and have a more reliability there. And then, eventually once this thing's packaged up and ready to go, build a second one for the downstairs and hopefully control. The cool thing about this is that the Echoes are, since I've got one downstairs and one upstairs, they can actually interface through the same account. So from downstairs, I can turn on or off the bedroom lights, if I forgot, or vice versa. From upstairs, I can turn on and off the downstairs lights. And I'm hoping to do that with the television, or control things for the kids a little bit easier without having to, actually be mobile and be lazy as possible is the goal. Hope you enjoyed the video. Stay tuned. I'm going to keep coding and hacking on this thing and see what we can build.